Todd Sexton has proven himself a fighting champion, and Kenny Omega better step it up a notch. He has to go above his A game here if he's going to try to take this TV title away from the technician Todd Sexton. And like you said, the X Factor, Al Getz, the leader of Al Getz Enterprises, in his corner. That's a winning combination there, Prazak.
I guess the other winning combination is Al Getz brought that smelly old bowling shirt back with him too. I wouldn't call that a winning combination. Somebody buy him some Tide, will you? Good heavens.
And as you see, Al Getz looking on as Todd Sexton applies the hammerlock to Kenny Omega, driving him right down the mat, showing why they call him the technician Todd Sexton. Kenny Omega looking for a way out here. Referee Mike Posey right in there, making sure everything's clean, making sure Omega's not in the ropes.
That is, Kenny Omega, we're talking about a gentleman who performs quite often all throughout Canada. Recently, the NWA anniversary show gave out incredible fine performance against P.D. Williams of NWA TNA. And Omega's made out of some strong stuff, and I'm pretty sure that Todd Sexton knows very little about Kenny Omega, and the element of the surprise might be key in this battle.
Don't let that fool you. Let me tell you something. That's the reason Al Getz is there. That's the reason Todd Sexton has been as successful as he has. I'm pretty sure he has scouted Kenny Omega, but the fact that he has not been in the ring with him might weigh in a little bit there. But let me tell you something. Todd Sexton is a true competitor. He's a true champion, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him walking out of here tonight once again with that TV title, as always.
His track record's pretty incredible. You very well be right, John Johnson, but dealing with the unknown factor, again, as we're talking about Al Getz being sort of an X factor to a degree, but Kenny Omega, an athlete that you and I are not too familiar with, or we're getting trial by fire without a doubt. And so far, he definitely has his wrestling smarts and a bit of a technician himself.
And right there you go. Todd Sexton reversing the hold right back into a standing side headlock. Kenny Omega had the advantage there ever so slightly, runs him off, comes in. Shoulder tackle sends Omega down. Todd Sexton up and over, big leapfrog. Omega went for the kick. Todd Sexton went for the headlock, but right there into the head scissors. And Omega with this right here, action fast and furious. I can hardly keep up with it there, Prazak.
Well, that's your job is to keep up with it. I'm sorry there, John. The clock is ticking. You're on the clock, aren't you? Aren't you? That's where we are.
Getting paid for this?
Regardless, yeah. Paid? Wrestling? You're dreaming, Pally. Looks like Todd Sexton is having his hands full of one Kenny Omega and deciding to maybe ease up the momentum on Mr. Omega by taking a bit of a breather.
And this right here, this is where Al Getz has benefited Todd Sexton. In the past, Todd Sexton would have rushed right back into the unknown. Al Getz is out there to give him the cooler head, and as they say, cooler heads prevail. And right here, we're seeing that from Todd Sexton.
I thought Al Getz and cool heads were mutually exclusive terms. Until tonight, apparently.
Look at Todd. I mean, look at Al Getz. The man's cool.
I don't want to look at Al Getz. Can we look at something else? Particularly, maybe Todd Sexton, the technician, putting the NWA World TV title on the line here tonight. And Kenny Omega. Listen, the opportunities don't come around too often. Mr. Omega, boy, Omega getting the legs up. Big foot right in the face of Todd Sexton. Omega flipping over effortlessly over the World TV champion, and a hip toss from the challenger. Make that a pair. And Todd Sexton is being rocked by Kenny Omega here tonight on Wildside.
Now what Todd Sexton needs to do right here, right now, is he needs to grab some hair or poke him in the eye. That's how you get control of this match back again.
Oh, old Greco-Roman moves. Pulling hair, poking eyes.
That's why he's a technician.
Pulling hair and poking eyes is a technique, huh? I guess it is, sort of. And it's, bizarre way. Fans here at the NWA Arena firmly behind Omega. As Todd Sexton puts the brakes on. Oh, dear, an inverted atomic drop. Oh, yeah, good heavens. Go for it, John.
Followed up by a swinging neck breaker right there. Todd Sexton once again trying to gain control in this one. As Kenny Omega in the corner right now. Todd Sexton going right after him. Doing what he has to do to hold on to this TV title. And right there driving the foot right into the Adam's apple of Kenny Omega. As Mike Posey trying to get some kind of semblance of order here from Todd Sexton.
Yeah, that might be a tall order indeed, as Todd Sexton, I think, is beginning to taste some blood.
Sternum first when Kenny Omega now sets him up on the top rope, hanging him up in the proverbial tree of woe.
Oh, Kevin Sullivan, what have ye wrought?
right there, and Todd Sexton staying with that sternum, trying to take the air from Kenny Omega.
I think the air is successfully taken away from Kenny Omega, perhaps ripe for the pinning. As Sexton putting Omega in pinning position, still some life left in the challenger.
And as of late, that's very uncharacteristic of Todd Sexton. He has made a habit of making his opponents tap out in the middle of the ring, but you do whatever you can to hold on to that title.
I'll tell you one thing that is very characteristic of something that's going on Wildside right now is Al Getz Enterprises, of which Todd Sexton is, and of course, part of. Things are really going Al's way. Al is claiming to have taken the NWA Elite out of the picture. Oh, he seeks his suppressor rogue, a swift kick that unfortunately just staggered briefly Todd Sexton, the second one that did a hell of a lot more damage. And Omega.
Sunset flip taker 1-2. We were that close to having a new champion. What a major upset. Goes for the move again. Todd Sexton.
Oh, a standing freestyle enziguri, right, clocking Kenny Omega, the challenger to the World TV title, right on the temple.
Lateral press. It's an age-old adage, but you gotta hook that leg. I mean, no matter how lightly you take your competitor, you gotta hook that leg. It's all about the titles. It's all about the money. And how Getz can let Todd forget that is beyond me.
I think in the heat of the battle, sometimes you make some strange little decisions. Omega, oh, the big mistake there.
And has him set up in that Cobra Clutch maneuver. Has him down. Referee Mike Posey in there checking, making sure it's not a choke, and it's not a choke.
Yeah, perhaps maybe a version of the old Shannon Umaki. A variation on an old time-honored great. As referee Mike Posey in to make sure that Kenny Omega is not going to submit, then Omega is pretty much far from submitting here. Pair of elbows, shaking off Sexton. Omega from behind.
Looked like he was going to go for a German suplex.
Yeah,
there.
perhaps. But the point's sort of moot now. But a clothesline staggering Kenny Omega, the challenger to the World TV title. Big forearm from Omega, leveling the champion, and a high knee.
And right now, Kenny Omega has had a fire lit up underneath him. Kicked down low into the abdomen area, hits the opposite ropes. Right there, a version, I guess, of a bulldog, you could say.
What, did you see Sexton's head bounce off the apron? Good heavens, only a 2 count.
In a matter of 30 seconds, Todd Sexton took 4 or 5 major shots to the head with the kicks and then followed up with that bulldog. Todd Sexton's got to be in La La Land right about now.
Boy, and Al Getz perhaps might be feeling that NWA World TV title perhaps slipping away before our very eyes. Could that be?
Could the lucky streak end here? When you're hot, you're hot. And right now, it looks like Al Getz may be going cold. Kenny Omega hooking Todd Sexton, full Nelson over. Northern Lights 1-2. Almost there.
Boy, a fraction of a second away from a new TV champion. And Al Getz is creating hash marks before our very eyes as Kenny Omega practically became the NWA World TV champion just a minute ago.
And right now, he's got Todd Sexton up. Todd Sexton is against the ropes. Todd Sexton is out on his feet. He's got to do something desperate here. Kenny Omega's got this crowd behind him. Oh, and that elbow drove him right in the corner. Hits the ropes. Oh, super kick from Todd Sexton.
On an already bloody Kenny Omega. And only a 2 count all. And Sexton perhaps has designs on a sharpshooter. No, make that a crossface.
Has him down right there.
I'm assuming our vantage point is somewhat obscured.
And how smart was that from Todd Sexton going right to the move? Almost immediately after the pin was, the pin was broken up. Todd Sexton went right for it before Kenny Omega had a chance to get a second win. And right here goes right back to that modified version of that crossface. Has the legs hooked. Kenny Omega's reaching for the ropes. Mike Posey's right there, but Todd Sexton turns him around. And Kenny Omega taps. Let's go down to Nigel Sherrod for the announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this contest, and still NWA World Television Champion, the Technician, Todd Sexton.
And Al Getz, of course, wanting to hand the TV title to his client, Todd Sexton. A valiant effort, actually a rather incredible effort from Kenny Omega here tonight. But only one man can emerge as champion, and that shows you why Todd Sexton's got the goods.
We'll have more for you coming up on NWA Wildside.